sales, we have learned about the new car sales. So most car buyers expect the car dealership to take their existing cars in a part exchange when they buy a new or the used car. So here you should understand that you are actually promoting the sale of the new car and obviously the used car. So when you actually buy a used car in exchange um, of selling a new car, actually you have created an opportunity to sell a used car as well. So you have sold a new car and you got created an opportunity to sell a used car as well. So used car that you have purchased from the customer, you will be reselling it to another customer. So business is expanding, business is growing. Like this is a opportunity for you to do the more transaction to generate more sales for your dealership. So the car sales industry shares information about the market values of used car, taking account of the model, condition, and the other relevant factors. We know that on average, if I ask you that a car, this type of a car, this year is the model of the car, and you know that what would be the average price, you would say that on average the price would be this, but it depends on the condition of the car. The same has been explained here. Cup sales executives are encouraged to offer generous valuation for customer part exchange cars in order to complete sales. The sticker selling price of each used car is displayed on its a windscreen and is stated on Cuppcar's website. This happens if you go to the large showroom of a used car. I have visited a couple of used car showrooms of Japanese cars. Those were of Japanese imported car. They were doing exactly the same. There was a slip that was pasted on the windscreen of the car with all the details, price, model, category, etc., etc. Everything was mentioned there. So you don't need to go back and ask the salespeople again and again. Each used car selling price is set by the head of used car sales within each dealership. Used car sales executives have some discretion to offer discount against these prices, subject to authorization from used car sales manager. So you got a head of the used car sales, then a sales manager, and then the sales executive. So the head of a used car is setting the price. Sales manager has the authority to give the discount, and sales executive is the person who is dealing with the customer on ground. So again, the authority is kind of uh, not decentralized. It is not delegated. It has been delegated to a certain extent, but you know that not fully. Cuppcar often earns more profit from the sale of a used car than from new. Cuppcar earned an average gross profit of $3,146, whereas from the sale of the new car, you were making a profit of 2,600 something, I believe that, if I remember it correctly. Used car sold during the year ended 31st December 2022. That was higher than the industry average, which can be attributed to the high quality of the used car. So now you know that here the price of the used car is not fixed. It depends on the perception that you are creating in the mind of the customer and the quality that you are delivering to them. So you could charge the price accordingly, right? In a new car, you don't have any option. The price that is given by the manufacturer, you will have to stick with it. All you can do is that you can give the discount um, for all the the commission amount that you would be making from the sale of that car. So that Cuppcar sells, the company works hard to maintain that profitability. That's important because this is the segment from where you would be making the more profit. So again, how you are maintaining the profitability from the used car, more or less the same thing, presentation. Every in the new car, you know that we learned about the presentation that you are displaying the car, etc. And there are the sales executives who are well dressed, etc., etc. So the same thing has been repeated here. Every dealership has a designated area set aside for the display and sale of the used car. That area is well signposted and is furnished. Signposted means that they have displayed the the signs furnished to the same high standard as the adjacent section for a new car sale. Used car sale executives are subject to the same dress code as the new car executives. They are expected to be familiar with the current inventory in order to assist and advise customers. They are required to test drive any models in inventory that they are unfamiliar with so that they can adequately describe the car's characteristics. So training of your used car sales executive is also important. Quality, every car taken in part exchange is examined for quality. Cars that do not meet the company's quality standards are sold on a wholesale basis to the other dealers. So you know that what you are trying to do is that you are trying to keep your reputation. So if a car doesn't meet your defined criteria of the quality, you will not be selling it to the customers directly. You will sell it to another dealer. So actually, the customer would be buying those cars from another dealer. So uh, your the dealership would be selling only the good quality cars. So that's why you are charging higher prices, and that's why you are making the more profit compared to the industry average of the industry. Cuppcar used cars both from other dealers and from individuals. Cuppcar buys used car from we have already learned about it, that how the used cars are acquired by the dealership. There are the various sources. So any such purchases are restricted to cars that are in excellent condition that can be sold as a nearly new car. All used cars all used cars are checked thoroughly, both mechanically and body work. Any minor problems are rectified before the car is displayed for sale. Used car are also thoroughly cleaned both inside and out. This is a very again a normal practice when a dealer would be buying a car, they would be changing it. You know that especially this inside out, inside and outside cleaning, they do it like, and that would then the car would be looking attractive to the customer. So industry information is uh, information. There is some mistake here. Industry information is the one on the basis of average car values. Provides something that I will have to see that this sentence is not correct. Industry information makes the basis for the average value, car value. Probably that's what I wanted to write. Dealership must have the expert evaluators to determine the right price of the used car. Now, this is a something that based on the judgment. They must be having a criteria that if a car model is this and the car condition is this, then the sales executive can offer this much price, because here your profit would be depending on the purchase price of the car and the sale price of the used car. So both are important. So if you have bought a used car expensive, that you have bought it at such a price which you cannot get from the customer, then it would be a loss making proposition. So that's very important, that when you are buying the car, a right price is given to the customer. There could be a conflict between head of used car and manager sales of the new car. The reason of the conflict is that uh, that the sales executives selling the new car, their prime objective is to sell the new car. So they might not be considering the factor that the used car that they are getting in exchange shall also be acquired at a reasonable price. They might be offering, we have been told that the sales executives are encouraged to offer the generous price for the used car, but you know that then it becomes a challenge for the head of the used car and the manager sales of the used car to sell it on a appropriate price. So that could create a conflict between both of the functions or the divisions of the dealership. You could understand it like the when you are selling the new car, you would be putting a price of the used car. You are selling a new car, you could when you're getting a used car in exchange, you could offer a price which otherwise might not be so viable. So acquiring used car with a generous valuation increases the sale of new cars, but but make it difficult for used cars head to sell it with profit, head of the used car. So because he is the one who is deciding the price of the used cars. So this could be a reason of a conflict between, because both of the divisions have their own objectives which are different from each other, which are in conflict with each other. Used car division wants to buy the used car at a lowest price so they can sell at a higher price to generate more profit. Whereas the new car sales executive, they want to offer a price so which is so tempting for the customer for their used car that they will buy the new car by doing the exchange for the used car. So that's why this could create a conflict, a very obvious situation. Part exchange encourage the sale of new cars, and acquired used car can be sold on more profit than new cars. Dealership give the same thing has been explained. The dealerships give same attention and importance to both segment of the customer. Quality is an important consideration while acquiring the used car. Treatment of discounts. That's we will see that how you would be uh, treating the discounts. A price is fixed, so how you would be described. Generally, when there is an entry, although I told you that the entries are not important in this exam, and I have shared with you the real exam for the previous case study, where the case study where you will see the questions and the answer, and you will not see the numbers or these entries there in all the six variants. So debit account, debit the sales, and cash, debit the cash, debit the discount, and that cash received from the debtor, right? So this is how you will be doing it. So again, it is not important with these entries. Then positioning. Sometimes cars, a car that is accepted in part exchange doesn't fit well with a particular dealership target market. For example, Limolex dealership might accept a small hatchback in part exchange for a luxury car. If the hatchback meets Cuppcar's quality criteria, then it will be relocated to a dealership that specializes in mass market cars rather than displaying it alongside luxury used car in the lot of Limolex. So for a luxury dealership, obviously you will not be displaying the used cars, economy used cars. So you will be sending it to another division. Again, that make me to think that the transfer pricing is inevitable in Cup car. Now, at what price you would be selling that car or transferring that car from your luxury dealership to a other dealership of the Cup car? That has to be determined. After sales, used cars may have undetected faults that only become apparent once they have been resold. Cuppcar takes great care to ensure that problems are addressed quickly in satisfactory manner. So Cuppcar offers a 7-day money back guarantee on all used car. Customers are given the choice between having any fault that appear during the time rectified and return the car for a full refund. Now, this is a great comfort for the week for a week. We could try the car, and if there is a problem, they can come back to the dealership for rectification or for the full refund. Now, this is very important that you keep this type of the refund and the claim by the customer at the lowest level, because as per the quality management concept, this is the wastage. This is called the external failure, if you remember. You have checked the car, you have done everything, but when the customer take the car out, there is a fault which you were unable to rectify, and the customer is coming back. Now it is costing to you, to your company. That is called the external failure, right? Um, because now the customer is identifying the problem. You will have to pay for it. Like you will have to, sometimes the customer would be getting a full refund. So that's obviously a wastage that needs to be kept at a minimum level. Online sale. Cuppcar website can be searched to show the new and used cars that are available both at individual dealerships and across the company as a whole. Every used car is listed on the website with a detailed description of its condition, supported by 20 high resolution photographs. This is quite common. There are the website for the used car, the Park Wheel, very famous. Just imagine that they are doing it themselves. The Park Wheel is a different type of a concept, but just imagine that Park Wheel selling the car themselves. So they will be um, doing it this way. So they are already doing it this way, but the customers are selling directly instead of the Park Wheel. So customers can select suitable car that can be seen at their local dealership. Uh, they can also buy any of the cars online for delivery to their homes. Online purchases must be paid for before delivery. They are backed by the Cuppcar 7-day money back guarantee, so customer need not to be too concerned about being unable to inspect their cars before purchase. Now, when the cars are being delivered, car logistics in the car, this automobile business is very important. Cars are manufactured in a factory, then the logistics starts from there. It would be sent to the country where the dealership would be selling it. Then from the dealership, if you're delivering it to the customer, again the logistics involved, right? So that is also a risk. So that also perhaps needs to be covered through the insurance. Accepting range of used cars in exchange for sale of new car increase the volume of sales of new cars and subsequently potential for the sale of other associated services. Warranties are the contractual liability and hence shall be treated accordingly. Here used car warranty again, they are giving it this used car warranty, the warranty for the used car. Online presence increase the reach of the dealerships and can help to uh, overcome here is a mistake type special type of mistake overcome the limitations of the territorial boundaries like in a used car dealership, by the way, do you could establish it anywhere because we have not been given any information about that there is a restriction or that there is any restriction for the new car sales dealership. We understand that there is a restriction that a one car manufacturer dealership is generally given in a 5 kilometer for a area of 5 kilometer. So there would not be the two same car dealerships in the same area. Uh, you know that for the used car, even if you having a too many dealership might not be suitable. So what you can do is that you might be displaying the used car with the new car dealerships, and you might be increasing your online presence for the used cars. With the 7-day refund warranty, customers can buy the car online with the comfort. So you know that's they would be feeling fine that if there would be anything goes wrong, they can always go back to the dealership. Cuppcar may consider to acquire another dealership of a used cars to increase its presence and profit. So acquisition, that might be testing the concept of that used car dealership could be of a let's suppose that of a luxury cars. Used car dealerships of a luxury car. Now that is a different business model. You will see that how it would be having an impact on your current business model. Luxury used car dealership would be having a different business segment. There, the objective obviously is to sell the car and to satisfy the customer. You will see that define value. How you are creating the value, the dealership might require a different type of arrangement. You might have to have a more experienced and more, the educated sales executive for those cars, more expert in those areas. So that would be having a impact on your business model. So that might be changing your cost structure as well as we have already defined. If it is a used luxury used car dealership. Then Cuppcar, when you would be inquiring another dealership, they might test the concept of the consolidation, group accounts. Cuppcar and acquired companies' asset and liabilities, income and expense will be combined. This is the same for any company. If for all the case studies, the concept is the same. Goodwill be recognized in accordance to IFRS 3. You have done some assignments, so you know that how the goodwill is recognized and calculated. Share capital of Cuppcar will be the share capital of group. Intergroup balance and transaction will be eliminated in full. Non-controlling interest will be presented with an equity separately from the equity of the owners of the parent. Then goodwill is the difference. This is something again you have done in detail through the assignment, so you must be having an idea about it. Goodwill is the difference between the fair value of the net assets of the subsidiary and the fair value of the consideration paid to acquire the subsidiary. It is calculated after adjusting the fair value of the identifiable assets vis-a-vis the carrying amount of the asset. And if in case fair value of asset is more than the carrying amount of the asset, it will reduce the goodwill. Here, this is the formula, the same thing. Fair value of consideration paid, net asset, fair value adjustment, goodwill at acquisition, and if there is an impairment, you have done it like we did some, that through the assignment, there were certain transaction where you are asked that how it will be having an impact on the goodwill. So similarly, you would be calculating it. Uh, Valuation of the NCI, non-controlling interest at acquisition. There are two methods. One is the fair value method, and the other one is the proportionate share of net asset method. If it doesn't rings a bell in your mind because we have studied it in detail, you need to again go back and read it. Although it has been explained here as well briefly. So if you are good with this concept, maybe you could recall it. Fair value of NCI is calculated at market value of shares of the subsidiary in this method, and fair value of NCI is um, calculating the share of the fair value of the subsidiary's net asset at acquisition. Market value and fair value, right? Now
सर
the
एक बात पूछनी थी।
जी जी
अच्छा, ये प्री सीन है जो ये अभी आप इसमें ये कह रहे हैं ना कि ये कंसोलिडेशन या ग्रुप अकाउंट्स, तो अगर प्री सीन देखा जाए तो उसमें तो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड ऐसा कुछ नहीं दिया, लेकिन ये मतलब क्वेश्चंस में पॉसिबल है कि वो इस तरह का सिनेरियो कोई क्रिएट करके दे दे।
जी मैं कह रहा हूँ कि दे माइट बी एक्वायरिंग अनदर डीलरशिप। जब वो एक्वायर कर रहे होंगे तो इनकी सब्सिडरी बनेगी। जब सब्सिडरी बनेगी तो कंसोलिडेशन आपको करनी
ठीक
होगी, तो उसमें वो टेस्ट कर सकता है आपके ये
ठीक
कॉन्सेप्ट। ठीक है।
ओके
इम्पेयरमेंट का भी नीचे बताया हुआ है कि दैट हाउ यू वुड बी डूइंग दैट, लाइक फेयर वैल्यू की के मेथड के साथ और प्रोपोर्शनेट शेयर ऑफ नेट एसेट मेथड के साथ आपकी कैसे आप इम्पेयरमेंट को करेंगे। ठीक है। दिस इज एन लिटिल स्मॉल एग्जांपल विच एक्सप्लेन्स दैट कि जी आपका शेयर वैल्यू कैपिटल क्या है, रिटेन अर्निंग्स क्या है, फेयर वैल्यू एडजस्टमेंट्स, फेयर वैल्यू सब fair value of the subsidiary's net asset, and then you will be doing the goodwill. I mean that we have done the assignments on it, so that's why I'm not taking you into the details. You already know that how to treat the different transaction while calculating the fair value goodwill, while calculating the goodwill of the subsidiary. Then the next part is about the car parts and the service. So new cars, used cars, and now car parts and services. So you need to remember it part wise, like each segment is generating the revenue for your company. So each Cuppcar dealership has a workshop that is staffed and equipped to service and repair all models of the new cars sold by the dealership. So here is a catch, like the used car that you are selling, how those cars are being then maintained. If it doesn't, that tell us that you don't have the people who can fix the cars of the other model, but they have given an indication that models of new cars sold by the dealership. So primarily you would be focusing to acquire the used car of those model which your dealerships are selling. And by the way, we have been told that your dealership almost selling almost all of the famous cars which are being sold in well-land. So those probably those the cars which are being sold as the new cars, the same type of the cars would be there in the market of the used car as well, right? So there are chances that the dealership workshop guys are already trained on those cars. Car manufacturers specify the work that is required during each year's service. Some parts must be replaced, but not necessarily every year. Cuppcar maintains detailed record of the. Now, this record keeping is very important. Nowadays, when you go to buy a car, they will asking you that you have the car history, maintenance history, etc. Cuppcar maintains detailed records of the service histories of the cars that it sells and service. Customers are reminded when service falls due, like your sales executive would be calling them. Failure to have a car serviced can invalidate the manufacturer's warranty, which could leave the customer responsible for the cost of repair that would otherwise have been covered. Now, this is a great risk which needs to be taken care of, that your mechanic, if they do mistakenly, that if they put a part which is not approved by the manufacturer, then you know that it might cause the customer to lose their expensive warranty, because this warranty is very important, 3 years warranty. You know that if something goes wrong, sometimes in these new cars, the systems are so sophisticated. If something goes wrong, you know that sometimes it is very expensive. So there might be claims from the customer on this account. And this is giving me an indication that um, there might be some such incidences in your dealerships. So you might have to create a provision for such claims. So the provision concept of creating the provisions, that could also be tested by giving some this type of situation. This has just came to my mind. So repairs are also an issue. Components can wear out or suffer accidental damage, causing problems that may be specific to a particular model of a car. Each of cars dealerships has the diagnostic equipment and tools recommended by the dealership brand manufacturer, so that car can be repaired properly after sale. All workshop staffs are given specific training in models of the new car that the dealership sells. That training is ongoing with updates of new model or changes to the design of existing models. So this is training is an integral part of your whole system. You know that if your dealership would be postponing the trainings of their staff, that's going to cost them a lot. So that's very important, right? And then these diagnostic equipment, you might have seen that they put a computer, like they connect it with the car, and then they would be, trying to find that what is the problem, and they would tell you that a sensor is not operating well, and blah blah blah. So those are important, because the traditional way was the mechanics used to open the car, all the engine and everything, and then to see that what's the problem. But now they can do it with those diagnostic equipment, and those are expensive. Obviously, that's why you would not find those equipments with every workshop. The dealerships have all type of the equipment, so that's why the customers are satisfied with the work that they are getting done for their cars from the dealerships. Although the dealerships are little expensive than the normal garages. So does the workshop has the capability to repair the old type of used car as well? That's a question, because this information is not categorically mentioning it. Software used to maintain the records of service history of a new sales shall share information with each dealership. A new car owner can take it to any dealership. The service history of the customer, which is being maintained in the dealership. I assume that those systems of the dealerships are integrated with each other. And if you would be taking your car to another dealership for the maintenance, they could check it from the system that what's the history of your maintenance history of your car. You would also see that there are some intangible assets in your balance sheet, and those assets are actually these softwares and the systems, diagnostic systems which your company is using to for the diagnostic purpose, right? Staff must be trained to ensure that their maintenance work doesn't invalidate the warranties, otherwise it can result into claims by the customers. So here let's take a small break.